Good afternoon. This is Weekend at 1 live stream. Thank you for joining us from wherever you're streaming in from. My name is Ian Wafula. Now, we begin with some reports reaching our news desk, which indicate that a student at Moi University's main campus in Eldoret was on Sunday morning found raped and killed near one of the school's hostels. The gruesome killing of the female student has sparked protests by the university students who have since taken to the streets demanding justice for their slain schoolmate. The victim is believed to have been a third-year student in the School of Arts and Social Sciences. The shocking incident happened last night and police are yet to make any arrests. Fortunate news, a young man died on the spot after a rubble of sand fell on him while he was mining sand at Mlima Ugali Quarry in Barut area, Nakuru County. The victim is said to have left a home from the mining site on Saturday morning in the company of his colleague before he met his death. Bernard Sang, a co-worker at the quarry, says he was walking a few meters from the deceased when the accident occurred. Nakuru County Director for Environment, Kiongora Mureithi, who visited the site, said the incident was unfortunate, especially because mining activities in that region had been banned since for a long time now.
Kidogo tu karibu about saa 5 hivi nikasikia hapo hivi ikaanguka tu chini pu, so nikastuka, nikakumbuka huyu jamaa alikuwa anagwara hapo, sikii tena sauti, yani sikii hiyo sauti tena inagwara hivi. Nikastuka, nikatokea huko hivi kuja kuangalia, nikaingia tu huku kote kumefunikwa, saa hakuna mtu, sioni hata shati yake, sioni slippers.
Indeed, what we are trying to do from next week was to visit this area again and find out the level of conformity or level of compliance with the ban, because it is true that people are earning a living, but then the manner in which they do the quarrying activities is actually not according to the law.
And on matters politics, the leadership of Wiper Democratic Movement is concerned that the current impasse of digital migration is reversing Kenya's gains in attaining press freedom. Former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka has faulted the government approach to the analog switch-off, saying that such decisions are to blame for the country's poor performance in press freedom. Kenya dropped 10 places in the World Press Freedom Index from position 90 to 100. It is now the bottom half of the list, which surveyed 180 countries.
Allow me to say this because I sit in the Committee of Energy. Hakuna sheria ambayo inaweza kusurpass public interest. It is in the public interest that they deserve to be involved. The media houses, they have the role to involve Kenya. Mimi ile kitu nasema kama mwanakamiti wa ICT katika mbunge, ikiwa mwisho wa ulimwengu mzima wa kutoka kwa analog kwenda digital ni mwezi wa 6, sisi mbunge hata kama ni nani, hao watu waruhusiwe waendelee kufanya kazi mpaka mwezi wa 6. Ikikatwa itakuwa imekatiwa huko mbele. Naambia waziri arudishe hasira chini, wafanyabiashara hao mashirika pia warudishe hasira chini, mfungulie wananchi waendelee na kuenjoy hizo services. Let us give them the humble time they require to put up or to set up the infrastructure so that they can continue doing the good job of involving Kenya the way they have been doing before.
Independent television is not a favor. It is a constitutional right. And we are not here to Mheshimiwa Joe, a member of that energy committee. You have to do what you must do. Kenyans demand nothing less than full restoration of transmission by KTN, Citizen, and NTV. They have also added QTV. Because now we have even dropped from position 90 in terms of the, let's say, countries that have media freedom, from position 90 to 100.
And just days after the Education Ministry set standardized school fees for public secondary schools, a section of MPs now want the ministry to do more. The MPs from Central Kenya want Education Cabinet Secretary Joseph Kaimenyi to implement the whole of Kulemi Mwiria report on education. The legislators have accused Kaimenyi of implementing selective sections of the 2014 report.
The government, from the onset, knew there was a problem in the education sector and appointed a task force headed by one who is the very advisor of the president in education matters, the Honorable Dr. Kulemi Mwiria, which did a very good work in collecting views from all stakeholders in what is ailing and the solution thereto for all the education matters. It is painful, it is sad, it is unfortunate that the way the one Professor Kaimenyi is handling education matters in this country is unacceptable. There is no way that in a very big report, so many pages, so many stakeholders are consulted, the only thing that you can say that you have picked from that report is the ranking of schools.
Professor Kaimenyi to appear as if he is pleading with principals and head of schools. Honestly, it's mischievous because he is the one who does the policy level, the policy work, and for him to appear as if he is begging national schools to lower school fees, that should be a directive. That's a directive that was given by His Excellency the President and the Deputy President, and I think it should be implemented to the letter, not the question of pleading or begging.
Actually, there is a motion coming in next week in Parliament so that the Ministry of Education can be called to check on which principles are now infringing on that. Because as we went round and that task force recommended, it's unfair to ask a secondary school pupil to pay 100,000. I mean, it doesn't make sense. That is what the university students pay for a semester.
And the government says it is waiting to receive the High Court ruling on the abolition of the Constituency Development Fund, that is CDF Act, before making any move. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru said the government will wait for the interpretation of Friday's court ruling and will be handling the matter delicately since there was a likelihood of some Kenyans challenging the ruling. But even as Waiguru spoke in Kerugoya, MPs and Kenyans across the country have weighed on the matter that touches on the practicality of every corner of the nation. KTN Samogina has more.
He is the brainchild behind the Constituency Development Fund. The Nyandarua senator, then Ol-Kalou MP, introduced CDF to address poverty at the grassroots level by dedicating 2.5% of government ordinary revenue to the fund. But the one-time champion of the fund wants CDF abolished, saying it failed in its primary purpose of shepherding developments as envisaged. Taking unpopular stance, the senator backed the High Court decision that declared the newly amended CDF Act 2013 unconstitutional. Karue states that CDF was crafted with the old constitution in mind, but says even in the new dispensation, CDF has not really served its purpose of dealing with issues that sometimes led to fundraisers and MPs then were not able to address.
What is important for me is for us to relook at the CDF Act, be able to look at it vis-a-vis the Constitution. How can we be able to amend that Act so that we do not lose the benefits of a nicely crafted legislation that ensures that more resources goes to development as opposed to recurrent expenditure.
The High Court decision throwing out the new CDF Act, which was introduced to change the CDF Act of 2003 to bring it in line with the new constitution, is already causing a stir. Members of the public, parliamentarians and governors are already reacting on the merits of the High Court ruling.
Since we are the lawmakers, we are just going to define the law, because I cannot agree that the CDF will be taken to the county government.
I'm hoping that by Monday, when we meet as members of parliament from across bond, this issue, we are going to approach it from a bipartisan approach. All members from Jubilee, from CORD, and from all affiliate parties, we are going to come up with a way forward.
The CDF has been able to deal with the issues that are emerging and that are of significance and of importance to our people.
You have a devolved government. Why can't we have a CDF devolved? Let the Wachumbes stay in Nairobi as they like, but let's have the CDF to wards. It can be closer to people than a person coming from Nairobi, spending mileage, spending this and that. It can be within the county and they do a lot of function.
I support, and I'm in support of all the CDF money going to the county government to be dispersed so that we can have one tier. The legislators, the MPs should do their job of registration.
Despite the court giving a one-year grace period for winding down of the CDF Act, MPs are keen to salvage the fund they have been largely accused of misusing for self-preservation and political gains. Samogina, KTN.
Of course, a story there that is receiving a lot of reactions, and we shall continue to give you updates on the same. And now, just moving on into sports, the Kenya Cup defending champions Top Fry Nakuru will head into the playoffs as the top seed. This is after knocking out KCB RFC from the top of the league in a grueling encounter that saw Onyore closely edge the Bunkers 23-20. In another encounter, Homeboys RFC completed their cup season in a high after thrashing Blackbird 36-3 in an entertaining encounter at the Impala grounds. Take a look.
As the final matches for the Kenya Cup regular season got underway, teams were keen on improving their ranking ahead of the playoffs. Homeboys battled Blackbird with the intentions of bettering their position on the league table. Homeboys began the match on a bright note as they bullied their way to a 3-0 lead through Haron Rubise. Moments later, Joshua Chisanga made it 10-0 before Maxwell Kangeri ensured Homeboys had a tight grip on their lead, making it 17-0. Blackblood's calls for a try remained unanswered as Lamek Kimutai made it 24-0 heading into the break. After the breather, Homeboys continued the impressive performance as Martin Lubise made matters 31-0. Despite Blackblood getting a 3-point consolation, Homeboys' Joshua Chisanga rubbed salt on the wounds as he made 5 points to lead his team to a 36-3 victory. In the match of the day, title holders Top Fry Nakuru leapfrogged KCB RFC to the top of the log after winning the crucial encounter 23-20 in a thrilling match in Nakuru. In another match, Mwamba beat Mean Machine 46-9, while Kabra Sugar ran riot with a 61-24 win over Strathmore Leos. Top Fry will now play Cabras in the playoffs while KCB takes on Strathmore Leos. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
And that marks the end of the live stream of our Weekend at 1. For these and more, do join us in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Ian Ofula. Have a lovely afternoon.